The 9 truths product managers hate hearing, and why every one of them puts you back in control. Hey, this is Shobit from Intentional Product Manager. I've coached over 1,000 PMs, and I know that all of you hate hearing these truths from me. And I know many of you will click off right after I even get into truth 1 or 2 or 3. But if you listen, it takes away an excuse and something better shows up. Control. Your ability to change your career. I mean, just an example. Many times product managers come to me and say, I can't find a job because it's a market. Well, the market is the market. But if it's the problem is something you're doing, you can change it. You can actually affect your own career. So let's get going into it. Why do I get to say this? Why should you pay attention to me in the first place? Look, I've coached over 1,000 product managers with clients at any top company you name. We've landed them there. I was a product manager at Google. I led product at 3 startups. And my clients, on average, get 35% compensation increase. Sometimes they've gotten as much as 200% plus compensation increase. Not everyone gets that. Some people don't get any. But the whole point is, I've seen what are the kinds of excuses these product managers are coming up with, and I want you to learn from here. So let's start with number 1. Being good at the job won't get you the job. If it sometimes feels like doing the job and doing the job search are 2 completely different skill sets, you're not wrong. I don't think they're actually completely different skill sets. In fact, one of our clients, Miles, recently in his video said that when he joined his new company, all the skill sets he had built during the job search immediately made him better as a product manager, as a communicator, as an executive. All of those were there. But still, it sometimes feels like these are 2 different skills. And listen, you've mastered doing a job well for 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, depending on how much experience you have. And very often, you've trained on the other one for a very small amount of time, maybe even 0 days. The challenge is there's an assumption here that if you're an A+ product manager, you would be an A+ candidate for the job. And that leads to crickets, rejections. That leads to nothing really working out in the job search. But the good news is that the job search is a skill. You can learn it, you can master it. That, along with being a great product manager, is the ultimate accelerator. I never say you do one without the other. Both of them together lead to an amazing career. With that, let's talk about truth number 2. The market does not owe you a role for being qualified. This is 2026. The job market is still very much an employer's market. So you might check every box and you might still get rejected because there's multiple people, multiple qualified people who want that job, who can do that job. There are often 1,000 people plus for good roles, and many of them check the box. Maybe not 1,000, but there'll be 10, 20, 30 qualified candidates for the job. Qualification is just the price of admission. It's not the edge. You have to stop asking the core question, which is, am I qualified? You have to stop looking at every rejection as, oh, I got rejected because I'm not qualified. No, it was because you weren't able to specifically communicate why you deserve that role above everyone else. That's the bottom line on today's market, which takes me to truth number 3. Nobody is coming to discover you. The assumption that you've done the job and so you should be discovered, that just does not exist. No talent scout is reading your Jira tickets. This is obviously written by AI, this particular line, but I found it pretty interesting. The best PM nobody knows about loses to the average PM that everyone knows about. Recognition flows to the visible, not the deserving. What does that mean? Well, if I have done a wonderful job such that I'm visible to multiple recruiters, hiring managers, and I'm a shortcut, I'm the obvious candidate for the job that they are hiring for, they'll take the shortcut. They'll take me versus someone who might be just a bit more qualified, but just not on their radar. Being underrated is just being invisible with extra steps. Basically, you can be underrated, and that's basically you're just because you're invisible. So that's truth number 3. Now, in this case, one of our clients, Sally, who went and became a product manager at BrainTrust and since then has been promoted multiple times, like literally people told her in feedback, and this is amazing that she got the feedback because most people don't get the feedback, which was, I wish you could have told your story better. You have amazing experience, but we wish you would have told your story better. And she could not fix that alone. She's brilliant. But her experience was invisible to the people deciding. Once she worked with us to come up with an amazing narrative, she became referable, as in people would refer her. And actually, recruiters reached out to her, and she had 2 offers in 3 months. That's Sally's story. Now, if you're already feeling like, oh, like all these truths make sense, like how do I fix it? This is the right place to be. Let's find exactly what your value is and make it visible and position you as the obvious choice. In the description of this video, there's a link to book a strategy session with us, or we call it a breakthrough session. We often book out, so go pause this video, book it now, and then come back and continue watching. Now, let's talk about AI, because everyone's talking about AI. Everyone loves to talk about AI. AI didn't make you replaceable. Being generic did. See, AI can do a lot of things now that you would do manually, but it didn't remove your skills. It didn't remove your judgment. It didn't remove your specific knowledge. It didn't remove your influence, the decisions you make, the strategy. I ran a LinkedIn poll the other day and I'm like, what in the world, in the age of AI, what makes you irreplaceable? And the answer was people skills and product strategy and judgment. Those were the things that came up. So the cost of being interchangeable, when you start to be generic, is suddenly visible to everyone above you. If you're doing the same core work, which can sometimes even be called data analysis, project management work, then you're replaceable. And why would anyone pay a premium for what sounds like anyone or anything? AI is brutal to the generic and barely touches or actually enhances people who are distinctive, who have what we call an angle of mastery, a problem that they've repeatedly solved in specific situations that makes them stand out for those situations. So this is really critical. The more you try to be generic, the more you're being replaced by AI. Bottom line. Let's start with truth number 6. And I think what people don't want to hear. So, skill sets. Product managers keep telling me, I want to build another skill. I want to do an AI course, and that AI course will fix everything, and I'll get this certification and whatnot. You don't have a skills problem. I can say that for 80% of you with confidence. You have a positioning problem. See, when you're stuck, the instinct is always go learn another skill, get another certificate, do AI PM, AWS, blah, blah, blah. And I've seen multiple people who are even working with me and sometimes procrastinating, and they're not putting the effort into the job search because they feel this like void, lack of confidence. And their feeling is that the skill set, the certificate will fix it. The real issue is not that. The real issue is no one can say what you stand for, what differentiates you. And learning a skill feels productive, but the bottleneck, which is your positioning, just remains untouched. This is like, you have a bottleneck in one area and you're fixing completely different things. So for most people, it means, there's a personal development course I did, and this person said one thing over and over again. Said, stop watching, start listening. In the sense, stop trying to find new things to bring in and whatnot, but actually start listening to yourself. What goes on in your brain? That's the way you're going to actually build up personally. Now, the analogy of here is you got to stop adding new skill sets, but you got to start sharpening your positioning. You got to dig in and understand when you achieved amazing things, what about you helped you achieve those? What do you stand for? What kind of situations do you excel in? What are the kind of things that people keep coming back to you over and over again? That forms your core positioning. Truth number 7, polishing is making your resume worse. In 10 seconds, I can tell if somebody's resume was basically written by AI. Now, is that bad? No. AI can often come up with really good resumes, but it will create generic shit. Stuff that hiring managers read and they're like, oh, this is written by AI. And what happens when it's so obviously written by AI is that it's generic and they lose trust. And because they lose trust in your resume, they're like, cool, I'm going to move on. Most hiring managers spot AI style writing in seconds, straight to reject, more polish, often makes you indistinguishable. It's not impressive, just indistinguishable. Big words, no claims. Trade polish for proof. Cut new user drop off from 43% to 27%. Very specific numbers, very specific proof that you did. And there's a lot more I can talk about it. In fact, I talk about it in many of my videos. But the truth you have to realize is sometimes just adding polish and leveraging AI for that is making your resume worse. I have experimented that with my own writing. Like when I went and hand rewrote many of the things, they did amazingly well because people want to watch, listen. They're hungry for something that's human. Truth number 8. Comfort is the most expensive thing in your career. The job you consider stable, that you won't leave. The conversation you keep avoiding about your promotion or your pay increase. Now, here's the thing. There's this fallacy, there's this bias we have where any loss feels twice as bad as an equivalent gain would. So you gain something, you get 10 points, you lose something, you get negative 20 points. So most people, when they have something, they're like, cool, I'm going to keep it. So I'm not going to rock the boat. Over time, they keep getting underpriced by 30K, by 50K, by 100K or more. I recently had a candidate who came in and she was like, I'm probably the most underpaid product manager you've ever come across. And I'm like, I've seen worse. But she was true. She was right. She went from 100K of compensation, managing tons of people, to the first offer, and she didn't even finish the course. Like, basically all the work we did was on mindset. The first offer was 300K, all cash. And I'm sure this person can do really well and get a 400K, even better offer soon. But this was just the start. So that was a very important thing. And like part of it was circumstances, but part of it was comfort. People get comfortable. They feel good about certain things, so they don't want to lose it. And it's the most expensive thing in your career. Standing still isn't safe. It's falling behind while feeling fine about it. Other people keep moving forward. You keep falling behind. You don't take any risks. It's the most expensive thing in your career. Okay. Last but not least, if you ever say something like, I'm not good at self-promotion, that's an excuse. It's not humility. People love to be like, I'm humble, so I can't post on LinkedIn, I can't send a Loom, I can't do this, I can't do that. It's just a place to hide. It's not humility. It's a place to hide. You like it? Great. If you don't like it, tough luck. That's the real truth. Self-promotion isn't bragging. It's clarity for your stakeholders. It's clarity for your interviewers. I was just coaching somebody who's been a senior director of product, and they were writing a co-narrative that we work with them, and we were talking about disagreement. And the fact of the matter was that they had to convince a VP of engineering who was completely wrong. But when they wrote their story, they didn't mention any of that. Why? Because, it's calling someone out. It's uncomfortable. And then the work they did was amazing, but they didn't want to promote that because they felt like it was bragging. But what's the impression that the interviewer is going to get if you don't do that self-promotion? They're not going to guess. They're not going to know. They will just ignore you. And who will lose out? You. The world loses out because a great product manager matched to a great role produces great outcomes for the economy, for the users. Your family loses out. You don't get that job. You lose out on further income. The family depends on you. So if you're not going to do it for yourself, just do it for them. Your silence doesn't help the hiring manager either. they have the exact problem. A loss with good PR is still a loss. So retire that sentence, retire that I'm not good at self-promotion thing from now on. If you're not, you're going to get better. Don't hide behind the humility excuse. So let's recap the 9 truths. Being good at the job is not going to get you the job. Being qualified is the floor. It's not the edge. Nobody's coming to discover you. You have to self-promote. You're not undervalued. You are unarticulated or underarticulated, however you call it. AI didn't replace you, but being generic will. Your career growth is not a skills problem, it's a positioning problem. More polish can make your resume worse. It becomes indistinguishable from every other resume. Comfort is the most expensive thing you'll buy, and being bad at self-promotion is an excuse that causes you immense pain, immense loss throughout your career. Now, this seems like being in a depressive place, but here's the truth. Every truth that you take on, it takes away an excuse. Things like the market's broken, they didn't notice me, I'm just not that kind of person, goes away. If the problem's out there, you're powerless. If the problem is in your hands, you get control. And that's why these truths hurt. But they're also the best news you'll hear all year. You need to hear these to act according to them for you to succeed in your career, for you to achieve your potential. Don't be the person who, towards the end of their life, they were like, I wish I was more aggressive. I wish I'd done more to achieve my potential. Your skills have got you here. The truth will get you to the next place. The product managers winning right now aren't more smarter than you. They aren't more qualified than you. They just stopped waiting for the market to be fair. They did the uncomfortable work these truths point to. So here's what I want you to do. Stop waiting to be discovered. Book a strategy session, a breakthrough session with us. The link is in the description. We've worked with 1,000 PMs. We work with you until you land your next role. And we help you get average compensation increases of 35% plus. So book a call, and last but not least, subscribe for other videos where I will speak the truth that others will not. See you soon.